What do you do when a loved one starts to hear voices inside their head telling them that they are not worthy of living or that they are unloved and unwanted? What if they believe these voices? I can bet those living on the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an entity known as Walking Sam. For those who have never heard of Walking Sam, you'll be hearing about him and what he does. And you are all going to hear about the experience I had with Walking Sam last night. Hello there, welcome. Thanks for joining me on another night filled with tales of terror. Tonight's video is about a character or a creature named Walking Sam. And you may not know who Walking Sam is, but I can guarantee you that if you live on the Pine Ridge Reservation, you'll know exactly who he is. So while listening to this story, you may be wondering if what you're hearing is fact or fiction. And here's where I'm going to ask that you just hold on till the end of the video so that we can all find out together just what it is that you heard. Now it's time to get started, but before we do, I'm going to ask that you get comfortable, click the like and subscribe buttons because it really helps me, turn down the lights, and let's begin. Many consider Walking Sam an ancient being, speculating that he might be a stick person, a demon, a shadow person, or even a skinwalker. But one description everyone agrees on is that he is pure evil. Walking Sam lives in the forest near Pine Ridge Reservation, where he's known to wander around in search of his next victim. There have also been sightings of him strolling along the road in hopes of snatching up a hitchhiker. When he spots his new victim, he will begin to whistle as a way of luring them into the forest. Once inside, the unknowing victim will begin to hear voices in their head leading them to thoughts of self-hatred and loathing. He is relentless about pushing you to take your own life, and when the cruel deed is done, he adds your soul to the collection of all the other dangling souls he's taken. Most of his victims are children, teenagers, and young adults, which he finds to be easy prey. 2009 was a very trying time for the Pine Ridge Reservation community. Nearly 200 young people said they were being stalked by Walking Sam. They said he telepathically told them they were not worthy of living and did not deserve to be alive, filling their heads with voices that compelled them to kill themselves. Consumed by forces of darkness and death, these 200 young people began to plan for their suicide. Trees with nooses and congregating teens planning a mass suicide were discovered and stopped. Sadly, out of the 200, 9 succeeded. Their ages ranged from 9 years old to 24 years old. All of this taking place within the span of a few months, the community believed it was Walking Sam to be the cause of the mass suicide attempts. So here is my experience with Walking Sam. Walking Sam got into my head, but not for the same reasons as he did the others. No, he wanted to tell his story and to make sure I shared it with the world. He asked me to call him Sam, and this is what he told me. Sam came from a place that was not of this world. He came from an alternate universe that was light years before the creation of Earth. In Sam's world, he had a family, a mother and father with 2 siblings. He was abnormally tall and thin and had eyes that seemed too small for his head. He was always an awkward child and a misfit, while his siblings excelled in education and friendships. His family was blessed with exceptional beauty and intelligence. Though he was considered the ugly duckling of the family, Sam had great intelligence that went unnoticed because no one in his family cared about him. He believed his family hated him. While at school, Sam was a walking target for all sorts of bullying by the other students. Physical or mental, it made no difference. Boys and girls alike partook in his cruel torture. One day at school, while he was on his way to the bathroom, a group of kids stopped him and began pushing and shoving him. While this was happening and unable to hold his pee anymore, he ended up peeing himself. Now all the kids were laughing and chanting, "Sam peed his pants, Sam peed his pants." Sam looked past the kids to see his brother and sister watching. He reached out for them to help him. Instead, they turned their backs on him and hurried away. That was the end of Sam attending school ever again. Sam gave up on school, and worse, his family. He spent most of his time in his room seething and filled with hatred. This continued for years, then one day his mother died and his brother and sister moved away. It was only his father and Sam living in the house, which was still not ideal for Sam. His father was an alcoholic and an angry one at that. Sam had a secret. While Sam was living his life of seclusion, he was cultivating an extraordinary gift, the gift of magic, and he became very good. He mastered the art of illusion, also disappearing and reappearing in other places. Levitation was tricky for him, but he learned just enough to add it to his act. The trick that came easiest for him was the gift of telepathy and hypnosis. Pleased with himself, he decided this was his calling, so he found a top hat and a cape that he would wear as his costume. He was going to become a performer. When he told his father about his plans, his father laughed at him. As a matter of fact, he laughed so hard, Sam decided to attempt a trick on his father. Filled with hatred and resentment for his father, Sam decided to see how far this telepathy could go. So he made a telepathic suggestion to his father, suggesting his father take a rope, go into their backyard, and end himself, which he did as Sam watched. There was no remorse in Sam after that. As a matter of fact, he was a bit pleased with himself. At the time, he didn't realize this, but that would be the first in a long line of murders by suicide. So he was off for the big-time theater. When it came down to performing, Sam became terrified. What if they laugh at me or start to bully me? A dark thought came over him. Let them laugh. Let them try to hurt me. With a simple thought, I can end them all. So Sam's magical performances began. He started out on the streets and eventually began to book small venues. He also began to give intimate performances in people's homes. As word got out about Sam and his magical show, more and more people wanted to see his performances, so he started booking shows in public theaters and auditoriums. He was becoming quite the sensation, and his power of suggestion, women began to throw themselves at him. He was taking a different woman to his home almost daily to have his way with her. This was all becoming too good to be true. The women Sam was bedding were married, and their husbands began to find out about the affairs. So the husbands began plotting a way to get Sam without him using his telepathy or any of his other dark abilities on them. They knew how powerful Sam was and what he was capable of. They believed that Sam had used his powers to kill his dad, so they had to come up with a good plan. A surprise visit and an ambush. One evening after one of his shows, Sam thought it was a beautiful evening, so he decided to walk home. As he walked, he started to whistle. Then he noticed it. People were coming out of their homes to see where the whistle was coming from. His whistle was attracting them. Something to add to my repertoire, he mused. Not wanting to be bothered by anyone, Sam stopped whistling and continued his walk home. As Sam got to his front door, he felt a sharp pain on his head and saw a blinding white light, then blackness. When he woke up, his eyes were blindfolded, his mouth gagged, and his hands and feet were bound together. These men weren't taking any chances. Sam tried in vain to use some sort of mind control, but without seeing anyone, it was useless. The men brought Sam to a tree and with a noose ended him, but to ensure he was gone, they put Sam into an incinerator, and when that was complete, his ashes were then thrown into the universe. Sam was nothing but ashes as he swirled around in the darkness, but somehow he slipped into our universe and landed on our planet. His body was nothing but ash that fell from the sky and landed into the forest that surrounded the area that would eventually become the Pine Ridge Reservation. As his ashes lay spread out all over the earth, Sam telepathically forced his body to come together. Sam had reanimated himself, but his appearance wasn't the same. He had no skin, only a charred skeletal body. His top hat and cape stayed intact, but the gag over his mouth melded into his face, removing any signs of a mouth. When he finally stood, he realized that some kids had been watching him. When they realized that he saw them, they screamed and ran away, but they were not quick enough to escape Sam's powerful telepathy. Filled with rage, Sam wanted to inflict the same hate and anger on others, so he started with those kids, having them end their lives with a tree and a noose. He soon realized that now he was alone, and perhaps he shouldn't have done that, but then he saw their souls, and he snatched them up before they could leave the earth and sewed them onto the sleeves of his charred black coat. And that's how he began his murderous existence, he said. Okay, so what did you think of this video? It's kind of a tragic and scary story altogether. I mean, it's sad enough for the lives that were lost. Can you imagine potentially how many more lives would have been lost? Well, as you probably figured out, this story is another that is both factual and fictional. What I shared with you about the kids on the Pine Ridge Reservation was definitely true. Now, for Walking Sam, is he truly real or just the figment of a collaboration of imaginations? I'm not really sure. But regardless, I really hope that you enjoyed tonight's story. And before we go, I just want to ask you to please click the like and subscribe button. I'm going to ask you to prepare for more tales of terror delivered to you weekly at 3 a.m. So until then, stay safe and stay scary.